quick question here then. Um, as you know, going to be going for a pro game today, but how many of you know what I am going to be doing the last week of December? Because hopefully you all know exactly what I'm going to be doing. It's going to be unlike everything that I usually do throughout the year. Previous years, I have been going over maybe every day. Maybe every day. We'll see about that. Previous years, I go through a best of that year series, where I just go over some games that I didn't get a chance to actually review, some games that maybe you guys send in that you really, really liked and you really wanted me to go over, things like that. I usually hit up those. Unfortunately, every time I do that, I notice I don't really get many submissions. So I decided to scrap that and go with a different idea. This year I'm not going to be doing a best of series. I'm actually just going to be going over games that I don't want to say they were meaningful to me. I guess they were. I'm going to be going over some of my more memorable games. Let's just word it that way. I don't know how many of them were meaningful, but I remember them. So they were memorable games. Some of them dating all the way back from when I was a lovely little cute player who didn't know anything about Go. So hopefully you will join me as I thoroughly embarrass myself by showing some really, really horrible play that was actually quite memorable. That will be going on the last week of December. I imagine I will be starting... Well, actually, that's an interesting thing, isn't it? I'll probably be starting on the 26th, and I'll probably be going through to the 31st. I imagine that's what I'll be doing. I will have date and times up for those of you who are actually interested later on. But for today, I'm going over actually a really interesting game here. I couldn't quite decide what I wanted to do a lecture on today. And then I realized I was being stupid because while I was trying to figure out what to go over, I was actually replaying a pro game on my board and admiring how great it was. And I still didn't know what I was going to go over. So I had this really dirt moment where the answer was literally staring me in the face. And that's what this game is. It's a game that I've replayed at least 3 or 4 times now. It has some very, very simple concepts that I think you will all be able to follow and enjoy. So, like most games, especially games that I tend to review for myself, you will imagine that nothing unusual occurs in the opening. I like that sort of play. Now, the opening in and of itself, fairly standard. The Joseki of choice, maybe not quite so standard. Usually when we see the attachment here by black, we're expecting a Hane, above or below, depending on how you want to actually handle this. If you Hane above at c4, you're saying, you know what, let's have a nice, simple game. Black is probably going to be getting this, white's going to be getting that, it's going to be an even exchange, we know who's getting Sente, blah, 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 blah. If we Hane under, it's a bit more of an aggressive game, but still perfectly fine. This move, on the other hand, I can't always decide how I feel about this move. Sometimes I don't like it, sometimes I do. It kind of changes day by day. I guess I can say it's a perfectly acceptable move. But the question is, what is it trying to do? How do we actually respond to this? Because this does not look like white is responding to our attachment. So there should be some kind of follow-up here, I think. So what do we do as black? Now this does look strange. And I'm seeing many a Q in watching this at the moment. And that's why I ask these things. Zogar says follow up with e3. 3Q says d4 is the usual move. Badger is actually quite correct. Ooh, what? C6? C6, it looks like you have the right idea, but you probably have the right shape that you're going for there now, but your order of moves is slightly off. But Badger, ew, Tengen, Zogar, you are now cast out. But yes, so, no. Badger was correct. D4 is normal. In this game, though, Black goes with something abnormal. Let's show you something normal right now. Let's say we hammer down on this stone, and White fixes. We have to be careful not to follow him, because this is getting very, very ugly really, really fast. We can see that Black is not living locally here in this corner. This is not happy for Black. Typically, we'll probably kick, and then depending on what happens after that, we might actually attach for some extra Aji before sliding back into the corner. This can be an acceptable result. We're alive locally, we're out. White, still a little bit of trouble on the bottom and the left. Shouldn't be having any of those stones killed, but there's Aji to keep attacking. So even though White has Sentei, will probably, I don't know, fix one of his groups, we'll have something to do against the other one. E3 I don't like. This seems to be leaving more Aji. It seems that what this is trying to do, it seems like this is hoping for a variation such as this maybe, where we get a lot of these forcing moves and over-concentrating White horrendously. But that's probably not how this is going to be played. Even something as simple as this is going to be acceptable. Because let's say White just connects out. Again, we're left off with we're not able to go under, otherwise same result. We can't extend, otherwise double Hane is going to make us really uncomfortable. So I guess we're just going to abandon this and going back into the exact same variation here. Only this time we have the extension and the capture of stone that we can potentially capture. I don't know. I'm thinking that you're getting rid of Aji at this point. Can we even play here? Does this work? If ladder worked, this would be working. I mean, I guess we can go down. We can't play there. I'm thinking this is a bad idea. I'm not liking this idea so much. This would be bad. JPD says after d4, it's favorable to Black. After this? In the e3 variation. After this one. After d4 for who? White or Black? Yeah, that's why I mentioned it. Yeah, that's what I said. This is really, really good for Black because White's getting horribly over-concentrated, which is why we would not play that way. No problem, no problem, no problem. So, clearly, Black, professional player, knows those variations, decides to play a little bit lighter. White's trying to play a little bit light with his G3 stone. Black sides, he's going to do the exact same thing on the left side of the board. He's going to pincer and see what White does. It does afford White the options of playing the Hane still. And in fact, one of the reasons why I like this game is because I can see that Black is making the board complicated. And I like that White simply goes back and makes it simple. Like right now, for example, let's get rid of those marks. Mark gone, mark gone. Alright. So, Black's trying to make the game really, really complicated. And my world Baduk is now in my window. There we go. So what is white going to do? Has options, has a lot of options. He can say, you know what, I don't want you approaching my corner. So maybe I'm going to play a small or a large knight. But that gives Black Sente to follow up his attack on the Pincered Stone. Okay. White could say, you're playing light. I'm going to play elsewhere and maybe approach your 3/4 stone. Could be possible too. Instead, and of course granted there's also the approaches on the 4/4, but I don't think we would pick the 4/4 right now over the 3/4 stones. Or over applying pressure on the Pincered Stone. Or maybe even just jumping out. I don't like the 4/4 approaches over any of these options. Instead, white just goes back into a normal follow-up. The options that he had previously, Hane above or below, he chooses to Hane over. With g3 on the board, as we're going to see, it greatly changes things. Because here we play normal Joseki, as we would if g3 was not on the board. But the fact that g3 is on the board has a very significant impact on the result of this, well, what should be Joseki, this equal exchange. What impact does it have? Does anyone catch it immediately without being shown? What impact does this have? The Vut at e5. Correct. In this Joseki, the cut is always there. But black can still extend after white cuts. Typically, black can always extend. Here, if white cuts, there's nowhere to extend to because we're already enclosed with g3. So that cut is absolutely enormous. So when black approaches, looking to settle his group, because keep in mind, this stone, granted, is now a little bit too close to thickness and can be, punched around for a while for lots of points for white. I mean, you can even see right now, for example, let's say a large knight to elicit a jump followed by an extension. And we can see that we have profit here as white, right? Easy peasy. But white says, no, all right, you chose which one is more important to you. You don't want me doing that. But you have two problems on the board. So you saved one problem. I'm going to take advantage of the other one and cut you. And it's good to do because this is Sente. Why is it Sente? Because black's not alive yet. So he has to live. White got to cut in Sente. Pretty good. Sente taken. We can go back and answer the approach now. And now black gets Sente. Alright. Better question, Zogar. You say why kick. What else would you want to do there? You would want to c16. Okay. Let's go look at c16. That's actually a pretty good question. Let's help Zogar out. What is the difference between c16 and c15? c16 does not touch black stones. So now we have to evaluate black's position. Is this really Sente? Because if it's not Sente, your opponent might respond by approaching you again. I mean, why not? But this can't be played if black is under a lot of pressure. And we can see we still have an extension here that black can make. And black still has multiple ways to jump out. So maybe there's not so much pressure being applied to this group right now, affording him that sente. As both, yeah, as everyone in the chat is pointing out. Yep. Pressure demands a response. Sente, yep, all good. So that's why we do that. You was taught the exchange was was bad if black already had an extension. Huh. Well, I don't want to say what you were taught was wrong. You might be getting the context incorrect. I can kind of think when you might be getting the context incorrectly, and I'll show this really quick. One way we wouldn't want to kick, let's say, boom, we have an extension. So kicking might actually be bad here because there's something more severe that we can do right now, and that is disrupt backs. I'm completely confusing all my B words here. We can disrupt black's base while applying pressure. I think that might be what you were shown. Alright, so white gets that, black has sente, goes ahead and closes because there's nothing larger to do on the board right now, right? I mean, when we have sente, what do we have to do? Really, really important questions we ask ourselves over and over again in every single game. Where are the large points? Good thing to know. Where are the weak groups? Another good thing to know. So what's a large point? Enclosure, obviously, no-brainer. Is there a large framework that we can set up? No, not really, not on this board. Are there any weak groups? Yeah, but it's ours. Do we really want to save it right now and give up sente to allow white to enclose? Or to approach, rather. All right, let's look at that. We save our group. He gets to approach, and holy gods, is the bottom now growing really, really large? No, I don't think we want to do that. That seems like a bad idea. So let's enclose. Easy peasy. White says, I have sente. Black says, why, yes you do. And we can see why. Misclick, oh my god. There we go. And black is dead, so we have to respond to that. Very, very reasonable moves, yes. It's like, you know what? You're right, I don't really want to die, I'll respond to your moves. So, okay, now what do? Do we descend? Well, if we descend, then black is still alive, doesn't have to respond to us, we just gave away sente. So let's not do that. Instead, again, white's turn to ask himself the questions. Where are the large moves? Is there anything weak? Yada, yada, yada. Okay, this is still weak. Not really sure how to best attack it for profit right now. So where are the large moves? Don't really have any for white, but oh man, do we see one for black. Black would love to get this extension. So right side of the board immediately is where our eyes are drawn. So white plays a natural approach. As Wise Wolf has said, the upper right corner. Black says, I would like to build. White says, that's cool, you can do that, I don't mind. I just wanted to leave some Aji behind. And take your corner away, because corners are good. I like territory, territory's my friend. So what's going to happen now? Again, we go back to the exact same question. Weak groups. Have any other ones been on the board since we asked ourselves last? Nope, just still the one on the left-hand side. Any large points? Again, we're drawn to the right-hand side, where we play a move. Pretty simple stuff. Oops, I didn't mean to click that just yet. Because now that white has Sente, he asks himself the exact same question. And the calmness of this move is something you're usually tempted not to do in your own games. Because, I mean, even right now, for where I am, I have to admit I would be looking super greedy. I'd be like, you know what, man? I can extend all the way across the board. Or, dude, check it out. I can push up and try to build the top of the board. And I'm going to make billions and oodles of points there, and it's going to be awesome. Is that a wrong idea? I don't know. I think the top is viable. I think the top really is viable. But he simply goes and points out that this group is weak still. So he makes the exchange by giving it a weak point, which is the happy little cut there. See if we can't force black into defensive mode. And then maybe we can do something. See how calm that is? I mean, can you see the comparison for where Cho-Chang is and what I was going to do? I was thinking, expand up as fast as possible, extend over as fast as possible. He just decides to give the only group on the board that's weak a nice little weak point to poke at. Try to get him to defend it. Very cool. You can see why I was kind of going over these games repeatedly, because this is something that's kind of lacking in my own play. Would you say this is also makes it harder for black to move out of e6? I would be very surprised if e6 was moved out anytime soon. Even without this, it's really difficult. Because then the question is, where is that stone going to go to? I mean, even without this exchange, if we saw white just follow it up to the group and just connect it all up so it's all nice and fine, you can imagine a white wall right here that you can extend from. And that'd be great. So I think running this out is slowly kind of inching towards the I don't want to win the game statement by playing such moves. Running that out too early is just like, you know what? I think I'd like to lose now. I think about 50 moves in is a good time to start getting on that. So let's get to it. All right. Black, on the other hand, says, you know what? I know you really want me to defend my group. I'm going to expand because I like the other person's ideas in the whole building up really fast thing. I'm going to take me a helping of that. So, yes, way too early to do R14. Well, this is kind of removing Aji of R14 while expanding. And apparently, Merrick, if that was your idea, professional player completely agrees with you. You two are on the exact same page. But what do you do here? What do we do now as white? What do we do? What do we do? Because this is a crucial moment. This is such a crucial moment. I cannot underscore how important his next move is. Black is essentially trying to call white out. It's like, you know what? I know that group's a little bit in trouble, but dude, I'm fine. Stop poking at it. It's not going to give you anything. It's so fine, I'm not going to play on that side of the board. I'm going to keep building up my framework. So it's all up to you to prove to me that I should have responded there. We can play something else, but if we lose Sente while we're playing something else, they're Yamans. then he's probably going to get Sente to go back and defend it, so we might lose our chance to poke at it, despite the fact that black ignored us. So if this move was really worth Sente, then we should be able to follow it up. Otherwise, it wasn't worth playing. And yes, Moboy is very aware of his proverbs. So how do we poke at this group? There's a couple of different ways. Ooh, D12, the move that I showed earlier. That definitely is probably the most severe move that you can possibly play. Are there any other ways to poke at that group? Clamp, okay. B12, yeah, that's the clamp. Any other ways to do that? Ooh, F11. F14. Thank you. Thank you, Wise Wolf. Yes, those are the exact two moves I was looking for. I love you both for saying them. D14, or F14 and F11. Those are essentially the two questions that we have to decide. We can cap it, but how do we cap it and why? If we cap D14, which admittedly, when I was first going over the game, that was my initial kind of like knee-jerk reaction. It's like, okay, usually when I'm in this position, that's normally the right answer. So that is the first move that I thought of. And I actually blinded myself to the second one. Completely. But in this case, can we actually build on the top? N15 says, you know what, maybe we can't. But we can still extend on the bottom. So white goes ahead and caps from below because he's looking to expand there. That's what's still open. That's where we can actually still profit from. So a little tiny thing. I mean, both apply pressure, but we're not just trying to apply pressure. We're trying to apply pressure where we can pick up points, right? I mean, basic idea. Anyone who has ever had a lesson has probably been told that, right? Attack and profit at the same time. Don't just attack for giggles. It's also a shape point, but this other reason is much more important. And we're going to see why very shortly. I mean, even if you can't quite see shape points, knowing where your profit is coming or can potentially come from can really help you in determining how you should attack something. Black jumps out. White says, beep. And black says, okay, I'll connect. And then white says, I'm going to completely surround you, right? We've got cool little completely surrounding you moves in. There's still issues with clamps and the cut points and probably not enough room to make two eyes down here yet. So black says, yeah, okay, fine, I gotta get out of here. But notice how he runs away. He knows what white's trying to do. So he immediately leans on the corner group, which is nice and strong, to try and get strength. He does not want to lean against this middle group any more than he possibly has to. Strengthens himself, strengthens, threatens to cut through and pokes out potential eye shape. But after that, we have no more Sente. So white says, it's time to profit. And extends across the board. That, I think, is a really, really awesome exchange. On just a fundamental level. We attacked to build up something. The minute we no longer had a nice Sente way to attack what we were building off from, we stopped attacking it to get our profit. We didn't attack it too long, because one move too many, black takes a move down here and we never get to expand. On top of that though, even aside from how awesome that is, you can also clearly see that this one move, this stupid little move here, is hurting black. Because he would kind of like to extend his framework, right? I mean, that's what this was all about. The idea that maybe we can just keep pushing on out towards the middle, but this is kind of going to ensure that never happens. Or is it? How do we respond here as black? Do we defend? Good question, Zogar. Zogar and Merrick saying, let's pincer this. Let's have some fun. We're going to pressure this one stone. Essentially what I'm getting the impression of is no one in their right mind wants to play moves like this to defend. Does anyone want to do that? Anybody at all? Not after the left exchanges. Yeah, if we picture white getting any kind of wall here, and we picture what black is going to get instead, we realize the left is a little bit more, worth a little bit more than the right-hand side. So maybe we don't want to do that. If we're going to do that, to top it off, just to follow it up, we should probably run out e6, just to ensure that we lose the game spectacularly. So what are we going to do instead? Two people suggested to pincer. These two people must be professionals, because that is precisely what black does. He decides, you know what, I can't handle this passively. If I respond passive, I'm going to just passively lose the game. So we can't play that. We can't go into defensive mode here. White will get too much. He's threatening to build up more than I'm threatening to build up. And now real basics. I want to concentrate on this fight, because this fight is beautiful in its simplicity. What is the very first thing we have to worry about in responding here as white? Zogar just got it wrong. Thanks for commenting, though. But why did Zogar get that wrong? Why is the jump bad? Why do we not want to play jump here? All right, Badger just said it. We don't want to let black connect. Absolutely. So where is the I don't want to let black connect move? Where do we go to play not letting him connect? And while you guys are doing that, I have a little grubule on the bottom of my mouse I have to clear off, because holy crap, this thing is sensitive to such things. Cleaning off the bottom of the mouse. I probably shouldn't eat over here. The crumb has been erased. That's good. Did anyone say it? Let's see, L3, no. N3, I guess technically, but no. M5, kinda, but no. I'm no sensei. Thank you very much. Wait, what? Yes, thank you very much. Simple diagonal. And let's go back and see what Zogar meant. If we jump up, we can connect, because we can't really say no to this, right? This doesn't work, no matter how we play it. So we are not going to do this. This is not good. This actually allows connection. So we do not want him to connect up. He is trying to invade the area we are painstakingly trying to build up, and in a rather beautiful fashion, I might add. What we should be doing is stomping his brains through the floor. We should not be letting him connect up and being safe. So the first thing we do is play diagonal, because now if he does this, we can cut him since he can't connect. That is the first thing we can do in brain stomping. Don't let them connect. I just destroyed the tree. Frack me. And it was going so well, too. Yes. So, clearly we can't connect. We have to go into plan B. And B is not dying. So black tries to run away. Second move of white's is awesome. And I do mean quite well. Why not M5? M5 is going to force a response. And the minute you get this, we have to ask ourselves, can we still not connect up? That looks like a problem. That's a double Atari. So we can't play that aggressively, right? If we jump up, it's the same thing. That is threatening a double Atari. So we're going to go up by one move, I guess, right? At that point, we can actually either jump away. We could either make shape and then jump away. And the question is, what are we threatening to do? Can we turn around and say, don't worry, we're going to invade this instead? Probably not, because we can actually play any kind of move over here to disconnect them both, right? So this move is just forcing black to get stronger, which is not good, and doesn't really have a follow-up, which is also not good. This says, I'm going to jump in further and reduce you if you don't respond to me. I'm also going to kill you on the bottom if you don't save yourself. Black says, I'm saving myself. And white's follow-up is awesome. I'm no sensei might get it. Who else do we have here? Okay, I expect I'm no sensei. Okay, Doubt probably gets it as well. Slevin probably gets it too. FC, nice try. Oh, Doubt saw the game. Okay, that's that's good. That's good. I like that you saw the game. I have too many people on my friends list. Oh my god. Is that not awesome? He just completely put white behind enemy lines while threatening a very severe move to reduce most of what black has. It's a very simple and yet beautiful move. It's doing two things at once, and everyone can see what they are. Everyone 10k up knows what's going on here. Finding it in your own move, a little bit hard. But once you see it, you know how much trouble you're in. And that's really, really cool. So black says, you know what, I kind of need that territory, so I'm going to respond. White shows that his placement of stones is no accident. He's got a follow-up. Nice amount of thickness gained here. And also Sente, which he then can use to pressure. That's ridiculous. If you can see this kind of sequence in your games, you are not a cube player. There is no way in anything that you are a cube player. If black doesn't defend, then he loses the right side territory. And that's acceptable too. Because right now, you can see that these are all points for black, right? He's going to lose these, and white is going to get points if he doesn't defend. So his largest area of territory, that's going to be really shrunk. Really, really shrunk. And then he has to ask himself, do I have enough for the upper right-hand corner? Because that's a lot of territory for white. The upper left-hand corner, that's some fourth line territory for white. White can extend that all the way across the top in one move. That's a problem as well. And we know that the bottom left-hand corner is more or less equal exchange. So if this gets reduced, can we still win? I don't know. We'll have a weak group, two weak groups here actually. We'll have A and B still. And we'll have no territory on the right. That's harsh. That is harsh. That is not a position that we want to be in. Let's see, how much of this game did I actually want to go over? I did have another game that I also wanted to hit upon, because that also featured some things that I've been reviewing quite a bit lately. And they are every bit as interesting as this. So I'll tell you what, I'm going to be really, really mean, and I'm going to let you know what game this is, so you can actually look over it yourselves and see how this actually turns out. And I'm going to go to my next game. Let's see, this was the 14th Nongshim Cup with the two players on the screen. Played just recently. Should be able to find it on Go4Go. I'll try and have the link posted, those of you watching later on YouTube, in my description. I'm really bad at doing that. I'm sorry. But I'm going to close this board, and I'm going to open up another one. So what is the moral of this game? I find it kind of funny that the wolf is asking for morals. I feel like I should be mentioning Red Riding Hood. Let's see, what was the moral of this game? I don't think... The moral of this game, for me, actually, focuses completely on White's very, very simple play. I mean, Black tried to complicate the game, like right off the bat. And even though it kind of looks like maybe it's kind of small, these very simple follow-ups aren't. I mean, something as simple right here as cutting through was very, very large. Something as simple as choosing which way we actually pressure that left-hand group is very critical, because if we pressure in the wrong fashion, can you imagine, for example, how different this game would have been if, let's say, White pressured from this angle and doesn't get to build any of that? I mean, the entire game changes, right? So yeah, for me, it's simple things like that, which is why I went over this game. I mean, even something as simple as this, as giving that group that weak point, when it might be more attractive to say, you know what, I'm just going to forget the left, I'm going to make a really, really huge top for myself, or forget the left, I'm going to make a really, really large bottom for myself, or maybe I'm just going to invade because I don't like my opponent having territory. It's like, no, I'm going to use Sente to give him a weak group. I don't care. More or less. A lot of people don't play those simple moves either because they don't look for them, or they see them and they think they're very, very small, which they're not. And you almost have to completely train yourself to realize that. Anyway, I'm going to close this and open up the other game. So I went black on my stream for a minute here. That's because my desktop is cluttered by a whole bunch of stuff, and I'm not going to show it today. Awesome! Yeah, you don't get to see my desktop and how horrible it is. Let's see, where is that? Put up another game. And we should be back. We are back. Awesome. Alright. So this game, which will ensure that we have completely run over the hour that I usually go with. Who was this played by? Ooh, right. This was played by... Ooh, interesting. Why did I pick this game? Why did I pick this game? Ooh, that's why I picked this game. Okay, I remember now. So here we have... I can't spell. Alright, so here we have a game with people who are probably a bit more recognizable than the others. We have Kung Ji and Isidore. Essentially the top players in their respective countries, China and Korea. For those of you who do not know. And if you do not know who either Kang Ji or Isidore is, let me just say welcome to Go. I think you'll enjoy the game. But alright. One out of two is not bad. Alright, so again, we begin off pretty normally. Ghouli's good. I kind of personally lean more towards Kang Ji than Ghoulie at the moment, but that's just me. So game begins. Ghoulie is popular. He was absolutely the strongest player in China for a while, but then Kang Ji kind of came up and took it away from him for a little while. Now it's kind of heads or tails which one's which. I like Kang Ji personally a little bit more because the story behind him is just awesome. I mean, this is a player who had websites dedicated to him for almost every game that he played. He would play a Q move, something that was just bad, and it stopped him from being a 9P forever. And yet, now he's like on the top. So that's cool. I like that a lot. Anyway, in this game, we have a lovely game of what do we play now? Because the game goes very simple. And I hate games, absolutely detest games that stay... Yeah, you'll see. But needless to say, White opens up by saying, I'm not going to let you play a mini, micro Chinese Kuseki. None of that. So Black, as common, falls back into Orthodox. Okay, that's very normal, very normal. Now, the burden now is on White. What are you going to do? Are you going to follow up with Influence? Because if you do, I'm going to pull that down around your ears and beat you to death with it. Are you going to extend and make certain I can't attack your H3 stone? Great, the 3/3 is available. I'll take my territory and laugh at you. Are you going to play elsewhere and try something else? Maybe. I don't know. But if so, then I can just follow up later on and be happy as well. So there's no reason to hate the pincer. I mean, Black is completely fine regardless of what happens. Gillis. No, not Gillis. Badger, yes. C6 does happen sometimes, such as in this game. So good call. Good call. I like playing C6 too. This is more of where you might create a weak group there later. I don't know. Your 3/3 is probably not going to be available. I've limited some Aji, but I still have an option of taking some territory. I like it. But the right-hand side wasn't split like we usually see with Orthodox, so Black says, it's gimme, gimme, gimme. And again, we see really, really simple moves, such as, well, what's one thing that my opponent can do here? Ooh, I don't think anyone's going to get it. I'm no Sensei might get it. Let's assume that Black has Sensei right now because I don't know its opposite day. What's one thing that you would play on the bottom? Don't say K16, and don't say Tengen. We could play K3, KL what? We could play L3. Probably not. I'm looking for something a little bit different. I think I'm cheating by being too vague. Yeah, I'm way cheating. Oh my God! Someone said it the minute I played it. Holy crap, Merrick! Congratulations, Eric or Merrick. That's exactly what I was looking for. That is exactly what I was looking for. Because the small knight can be cut, right? So F3 can be sacrificed. But if white tries to cut this, black is going to lean. And you can see immediately that a wall here works nicely with what he's already created. So a small knight can be cut, but sometimes that can work to your advantage, especially if you know you're playing an overly aggressive player. All right, let him cut you. See what happens then. Sometimes leaving weaknesses are very, very good. So white says no. If you're saving that stone, you're not getting anything from it, and I'm going to approach you. Not going to get a double wing. You're not going to be able to pull that out and pressure me with influence. None of that's going to happen here. Not a bad move. Looks weird as heck until we actually realize what's going on. Then yeah, fourth line over third line because third line can be kept low. So black approaches. And as you can see, this is getting a little bit, let's say, normal, I guess, is the only word that I can use to describe this kind of play. Okay, Merrick is not on the same page as me. He thinks it's crazy. But it's fairly straightforward, right? I mean, black on the right-hand side is developing a framework. White on the top, fine, getting a framework. Do we have any weak groups that we can go after? No, not really. Everything is just kind of bleh. It's frightening in a way because these kind of games have a really bad habit of being end game kind of games where everything's kind of normal and even up until end game, and whoever gets end game, who has better end game rather, is going to win. And I'd rather shoot myself than play those. I don't think they're fun. So why did I pick this game? Good question. Black chooses to settle. We have many options here as black. Black chooses to live in the corner because coming out right now, when black clearly sees that white's two stones are nice and strong, not good. We're not going to get anything from that. So we settle in the corner. Nice and easily. Even gives Sente to our opponent. He gets to go back and respond. So now what? We still have no fracking weak groups. We're still kind of headed towards that really boring, gonna be everything decided in endgame kind of game. The game that we really don't want to play. But white just takes a corner, fairly normal, nothing bad is going to happen there. We know the exact sequence that's going to come from this too. And now what? There's still no weak groups, so what do? Well, we can be reduced at R10. That's kind of low. There's an invasion area. Here, I mean, we can invade, blah, but we're going to be invaded as well. So Isidore just goes, fine, I'll defend. Yep, I'm positive this is a Korean game. Now it's White's turn to say, great, there's nothing to attack. I guess I'm gonna defend. Oh, is this boring? Boring game. So then Black says, you know what? Fine, you're trying to defend, you're trying to expand, but you can keep me low, so Frack, I guess I gotta jump up. Make certain you can't keep me low and take the top. And we're about to blow our brains out unless something interesting happens. Finally! Something interesting. Oh, I'm sorry, Doubt. Those of you who are offended by my dislike of this particular kind of game, I'm sorry. I'm just kind of aggressive sometimes, and I like seeing fighting and things dying on large scales. So here we have hope. Black can passively respond and keep his territory, or he can cut. Black decides to passively respond for the moment. White goes back and defends his territory. Okay. And now we finally have some interesting things to go against. We have the small knight here that I never would have thought to try to profit from. I mean, I would think of the clamp, I'd think of the Hane, I'd be like, there's some endgame crap down there that I should probably keep in mind later. But Isidore, oh, our friendly Isidore, says, I can potentially cut this or invade. That's pretty awesome. And suddenly we have a weak group on the board. Suddenly we have a very interesting weak group on the board. But it doesn't seem like the kind of weak group that you ever want to play yourself. This is the kind of thing that they want, that you want your opponent to make. Okay, it's just a stone, but come on, it's the best we got. So White says, okay, I can dig it. I'm going to attack this thing. And Black says, fine, I'll just defend myself. There, now it's most definitely a weak group. Absolutely a weak group. It's a weak group that has no shape to it at all. It looks like, oh, that, can't go there. Can't say that. Can't say that. What can I say? I don't know. Doesn't look good for us. Does not look good for Black. But at the same time, it's kind of hard to imagine how we're going to surround this group, right? Kind of hard to do that. So White says, I'm going to lean on you here to get stronger. That way I can attack your group in the center. And Black cuts. What's wrong with this picture? Does that strike anyone as weird? On a fundamental level? What's wrong with this move? What? What is going on here? Shouldn't this make Black's group even weaker? Yeah, Nab, you are completely on top of everything. Yes, you are right. Why give a forcing move to White? Good, yeah, yep, you're all on the same page. Black is banking on, I'm not sure about that one. Gout's either seen this game before, or he's just really analytical. It's like, well, let's eliminate the impossible. It's impossible that this stone is helping that group. Okay, so where does that leave us? With White getting stronger in the middle. Okay, White gets stronger in the middle. How does that help us? Well, it kills off our group, and that group was weak, so I guess we didn't like it? There's no way that middle group is going to live from this move. And White's like, you know what? I read the same thing you do, buddy. I'm going to kill you off. But as mentioned by Merrick, Black actually makes of the middle for the right-hand side. That's not something that I would have thought of. I would have been like, holy crap, I have to get out of here immediately. Maybe I respond once and then defend, but oh god, then I have to respond twice? And now I made him stronger? This isn't good for me. It seems like Black created this group for one of two purposes. Either one, sure, we're going to reduce him. Or if White shows interest in it, we're just going to leave it and see if we can't profit more elsewhere. Most people who play are really, really attached to their groups and would not actually think of this. Not to plan for this. Like, you know what? This could die and I'm fine with that. So White probes. We get to cut through, right? Unless a miracle happens. We potentially can cut or reduce. Black left the territory because he doesn't want to be cut with the bottom that might kind of grow large and we don't know how we're going to live, so it doesn't make any sense. So that's some more influence that White can get. But he has to make certain that this group isn't going to suddenly live on him. So he surrounds. Seems kind of big. Black keeps his sacrifice in check. Makes sure it's not getting too large. And that attachment right there immediately gives more Aji. Because what do we know about attachments? They make our opponent stronger. Black sees this and realizes, you know what? I can get stronger here now, can't I? So what about this cut? If that stone gets stronger, and I can use this cut, then the left might grow larger too. All because I gave up some stones in the middle of the board. That is pretty profitable. I mean, that's milking dead stones for every ounce that they're worth. White does his best to contain. Keeps coming out, makes certain that doesn't occur, the whole left-hand side. You need to be careful of it. Using some Aji of his dead stones for awesome forcing moves in the middle of the board. We now suddenly have a wall there. Then he expands. Threatening to expand a lot more. Just from some dead stones in the middle of the board. Coupled with that is the realization that these stones are going to have to look out for themselves for the rest of the game. That's good. We have a weak group. We've expanded. Didn't really give up all that much. And yet suddenly the potential is all ours. I mean, where is the potential for White to continue building his territory? Does he have any? Probably not, right? Probably not. But we can see that Black has potential to expand his territory. We can see that Black has a weak group that he can go after. So suddenly Black's kind of taken control of this game. It was going very, very boring. It was about to put every last person who just... Oh, sorry. Not Doubt. I think Doubt liked it. Sorry. Maybe a few others do too. But it was a very passive game, and yet now it's clearly anything but. So that right there is why I've been reviewing this game over and over and over again. Because I sometimes find rather passive, I find myself in a passive game like this, and I'm also interested in trying to figure out how can I make my game more interesting. I don't want to just passively go to endgame and then, I want to do something a bit more proactive. And this is a really good example of how you can actually go about that. I liked it a lot. Clearly, white doesn't want all of that to, I'd rather look at this and practice my endgame. I'll be a 10Q at endgame for a while longer. Thank you. I'm fine with that. So white jumps out, doesn't want that middle to go to white, or to black rather. Similar, doesn't want him connecting. This last exchange I'm going to show, and that's about it from this game. And then I'll tell you what this is from as well. I think, oh god, I don't have the information here. I'll have to go back and look it up and tell you what it is. But yeah, you can clearly see that white is under attack on the left-hand side. But white says that's fine, I'm going to connect everything up. Make myself nice and strong. It's all good. But that means that, yep, this game was very recently played. That means black gets to invade. Pick up a nice bit of territory for himself. White tries to come in further. Black threatens to cut it off. White tries to save what he can. Now threatening multiple cut points. Gotta be careful how you Atari this, if at all you Atari this. Instead, we realize, well, I don't want to get cut. Not sure if I can connect. Let's make certain we're good here. Sente for black, so he pokes at the weak group that was left before cutting through. I think that's about as far as I want to take this. White defends himself. Obviously, we're not going to get killed here. Black connects, forcing white to take because the middle has been cut off otherwise. That's not good. Black threatens to cut. So white threatens to kill. Have to give up those stones too, it looks like, if we're not careful. Can't cut through right now, though, because it doesn't work. Instead, we're going to connect up our stones, which forces black to cut. And I think that's pretty much where I wanted to end this. Yeah, that's where I wanted to end this. So, the first game we see black does. First game, sorry, spoiler. The first game we saw an interesting game, very, very simple play, just taking advantages of the Aji as it arose, clearly realizing how we can profit when we're looking to poke at that kind of Aji. Playing some moves that seem kind of small, but really when you look at them, they're not. Like, is it really small to make certain that my opponent has a weak group there, rather than take maybe some points on territory? No, that's not really that weak at all. This game, we see a game that some of us, not all, but some of us don't like to play. And we got to see a way in which Lee Sedol turned it around and made it a lot more interesting, a lot more aggressive. So these two games I've actually been reviewing repeatedly over the past week or two-ish. because I really like the really basic lessons that they have to share with everyone. So I hope you enjoyed those. Let's see. Week after next, like I mentioned, I will be going over the games that are memorable to me. I'm not going to be going over the best of series, like I mentioned in the beginning. I'm going to be going over games from my past that I have played that I don't want to give anything away, but I really don't want to say were meaningful, but they definitely left an impression on me. They definitely were memorable in some fashion. And you'll find out more about why they were memorable in our next lecture. That week I will be having multiple lectures, of course. At least Wednesday and Thursday, probably Friday. What is the date? Wednesday, Thursday, probably Friday, maybe Saturday. I don't know about Sunday or Monday. I have to go over and find a couple more games as well. But I'll be doing that, so you can look forward to it. Sorry, I'll apologize in advance if those games are not the usual caliber. Definitely not pro. Some of them are definitely not even Dom level. Some of them are from my Q playing days. But they are interesting. I think you guys will find them interesting as well. So I will see you all then. Yes, fine, unless the world ends. Hiccups. I will see you then. Hope you enjoyed, and I will see you all later.